Welcome back to another ZkiMade video, you guys. I'd like to take some time to introduce you to an idea. One that may seem controversial at first, maybe even a little personal. But radical changes must be made in our country's education system that for too long has lagged behind other developed nations. School-funded sports should be eliminated from American public schools. Today I'm going to focus on 3 hopefully compelling reasons to highlight the burden sports have not only placed on schools, but on our children. In this video though, I won't be exploring the dynamic impact sports have on the social life of many children. I personally felt this was the right decision because even though I've met many people who adamantly attest to its positive impact socially on their childhood, I've met many who equally despise sports and attest to its negative impact. For this reason, socio-impact of sports seem to be personal, and accurately arguing for or against the implementation of sports in schools would be a waste. So let's just jump into it. Reason number 1, safety. Over the past decade, the true extent of the effect repeated concussions have on the brain has been brought to light. And with over 2.8 million children from grade school to high school playing football in America alone, this is an incredibly far-reaching issue. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE for short, was victoriously placed on a platform with an attentive audience in the 2015 movie titled Concussion. Outstandingly well, if I do say so myself, by Will Smith. But with that attention also comes the cliche of addressing it. But make no mistake, repeated concussions to your skull are an exponential factor of causality when it comes to CTE and other brain-related illnesses, often which are the worst of all illnesses. Dementia, schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, and obsessive-compulsive disorder are all debilitating in some aspect or another, and are still some of the most far-reaching, deadliest, and least known ailments that plague humanity. So I ask you, why, for even the briefest of moments, would you subject an adult, let alone a growing child, to circumstances that will inevitably degenerate their bodies at a faster rate for the sake of a game? Especially when concrete, unreproachable evidence has been found that attributes such as critical thinking, leadership, discipline, cooperation, and physical activity have a much far longer lifespan and effect on a child when they are given boundaries to explore and adopt these attributes at their own accord instead of dictatorially mandated at the discretion of an adult. In no way am I saying we should shelter or prevent the next generation from danger. Danger, after all, is how we face fear to overcome and learn the aforementioned attributes. But ask yourself if we should support and prioritize placing children in head-to-head collisions on the same cultural footing we place education. Reason 2, finances. In my city of Cincinnati, over the past 2 years, an army of politicians, engineers, architects, business owners, and of course, soccer players have worked tirelessly to decide the location and design of the FC Cincinnati soccer stadium. Now, ponder for a moment the man-hours, money, staff, and resources it takes to build the soccer fields, baseball stadiums, football stadiums, tennis courts, weight rooms, track fields, basketball courts, and wrestling rooms at every single high school in this country. Your average school district, one high school, one middle school, and one grade school will spend over $150,000 a year on top of the infrastructure cost alone. $60,000 for the coaches, $40,000 for the athletic director, $10,000 for the equipment, $60,000 for the janitors to clean the infrastructure regularly, $100,000 for the insurance, $50,000 for the bus drivers, and $10,000 for the referees and umps for the game. Putting it plainly, there is no cheap way to implement sports in public schooling. Even if schools rent already existing private businesses for the sport infrastructure, many of the aforementioned costs are still there, let alone the exuberant amount of money that renting those private facilities would cost to public schools. To many of you, these costs might be worth it. Maybe even not meeting expectations for how far you want our schools to implement the quote-unquote learning principles sports bring to education. But in Kentucky and the rest of the country, teachers are protesting and going on strike, not for more pay or a bigger football stadium. They just want all students to have the necessary supplies for education. Reason 3 is culture. High school was a torturous 4 years for me. And it's not because I didn't play sports. I actually played sports all 4 years. And not just one sport either. I played lacrosse, volleyball, baseball, basketball, tennis. I even dove for a year and wrestled in middle school. And you want to know which one of those I was good at? None of them. I forced myself to play these sports. Of course, a part of it was to stay physically active, but I really played the sports because that's just what you do. And I'm not making this video because I was bad at sports and I want some retribution. I'm making this video for you guys because you want to know what I am good at? Math. I love math. It's so empirical and definite. But like so many other students and kids growing up in American public schools, I thought I hated math. It was hard, difficult to grasp, and even tougher to truly understand. But instead of having a math coach that forced me to get to school early, forced me to have discipline and strength in overcoming such a formidable foe, I was told to acquire these skills in an arbitrary game that would have no future benefit on my career. Maybe this is why so many high schoolers go to college so willfully unknowing of what they want to do, what they're good at, or the career they wish to explore. Of course, I can't prove such a thought, nor do I speak for every college student in such a sweeping assumption. But this I do know. There was never a $1 million complex built for the math elites at my high school. No t-shirts were sold with mock trial slogans printed on them with our school logo. No spelling bees were aired on local TV, or an outstanding academic glorified on the same level on a platform equivalent to ESPN. You may say our free market affords me the ability to do all these things, and they are simply boring or uninteresting. But how do you ever expect knowledge and the acquisition of it to rival the enjoyment of a game? Especially when it's so easy to revel in such a trivial pursuit. Only when we uphold our academically inclined students and revere them will we ever see a change of this ideology. In conclusion, this idea has farther reaching impacts than just better schools. A more educated, focused culture leads to a more educated society, and in turn a stronger nation, more unified, more respectful, and more resilient public. Sports are amazing, fun to watch, and even more fun to play. But please, for the sake of our children and their children after them, our nation, and our culture, we must stop placing our children in imminent danger, wasting taxpayer dollars, and revering the wrong people in our society by placing the futility of sports on the same pedestal as education. I'm going to end on a quote by John Dewey. Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you.